Welcome. This presentation focuses on a core concept of the European Union, its competences. We'll be looking at the specific areas where the EU has the authority to act, as given to it by its member states. This topic is a key part of the educational module on the European Union's institutional framework. Understanding what competences are is absolutely essential to understanding how the EU actually works. So let's begin by outlining the main learning objective for this session. By the end of this presentation, you will be able to clearly identify the main areas in which the European Union is empowered to create laws and implement policies for its member states. First things first, we need to establish a clear definition of what EU competences really means. So as you can see, EU competences are the specific fields where member states have transferred authority over to the Union. Now, it's crucial to understand that this power isn't automatic. It is given or conferred to the EU by the member states through the founding treaties. This is known as the principle of conferral. To get a better handle on this concept, we're now going to break it down into 3 key points. First, we'll look at the EU's strategic priorities, which guide its work. Second, we'll examine some specific examples of these competencies in practice. And third, we'll review the wide range of sectors that the EU's activities cover. All right, let's start with strategic priorities. You see, the way the EU uses its competences is not random. It's guided by a strategic agenda set by the European Council, which outlines the Union's main focus for a period of several years. For the 2024 to 2029 cycle, the EU's actions will be focused on these 3 priorities. This means that any new law or policy that the EU creates within its areas of competence will be designed to contribute to these overarching goals. Okay, so that's the theory, but how do these competences actually work in the real world? Let's analyze 2 concrete examples to see. A great example is the EU's exclusive competence in monetary policy for the countries in the euro area. The process for Bulgaria to adopt the euro, which is planned for 2026, is a direct application of this authority. It perfectly shows the EU's role in managing the single currency and deepening economic integration across the Union. Another powerful example comes from the internal market, which is a shared competence between the EU and its members. The new regulation on toy safety sets the same standards for all member states. By banning certain chemicals and introducing a digital passport for products, the EU is using its authority to protect consumers and make sure there's a level playing field for businesses. We've just seen some specific examples, so now let's take a step back to appreciate the broad scope of the EU's activities. The EU's competences cover many areas that impact daily life and business. As this table shows, for citizens, this means common rights and opportunities that make it easier to live, travel, work, and study across the EU. For the economy, it means a single regulatory environment that governs how companies do business, trade, and get access to funding. To conclude, let's bring together all the information we've covered into 4 main takeaways. In review, we've established 4 key things about EU competences. First, the definition. They are the specific areas of authority that members have granted to the EU. Second, these powers are guided by high-level strategic priorities. Third, this authority is put into practice through real actions, like monetary policy or safety rules. And finally, the scope of these competences is very wide, influencing many aspects of life and business in Europe. Understanding the principle of competence is therefore fundamental to grasping the relationship between the European Union and its member states and how power is distributed and exercised within this unique political structure. This video is one component of a comprehensive educational module on the European Union. Further subjects are detailed in other videos that are available in the playlist.